right, if you've been anywhere near TikTok recently, you have definitely heard of the Great Lock-in. So today we're going to break down what it is, why literally everyone is doing it, and whether it's actually a genius move or just another trap. Let's get right into it. Okay, does it already feel like the year is just over? Like we blinked and it's almost done? Yeah, you are not the only one feeling that way. That little bit of end-of-year panic is actually feeling a huge movement online to kind of save what's left. But here's the thing. Instead of just waiting around for those New Year's resolutions that, let's be honest, never really stick, Gen Z is totally taking charge of the last few months of the year. And they're calling it the Great Lock-in. It's all about a massive Q4 reset. So what exactly is this trend, and why is it absolutely blowing up right now? So at its core, the Great Lock-in is this 4-month sprint of intense focus, running from September all the way to the end of December. The name comes from that slang for getting super hyper-focused, you know? And while people are using it for things like wellness and career goals, the real conversation, the one that's got everyone talking, is all about money. And I'm not kidding when I say this is huge. This isn't just some tiny trend in a corner of the internet. A recent survey found that a staggering 56% of Gen Z have basically signed up to do this. We're talking about a full-on cultural movement here. So why is this one so much more popular than all those other challenges out there? Well, it's all about flexibility. There are no hard and fast rules. The goal is not perfection, it's all about consistency. So if you miss a workout or you overspend one day, it's not a failure. You just kind of reset and get right back on track. You see, it's not about some massive overnight transformation. It's about those small, consistent wins that build up over time. I saw one creator put it perfectly. She said it's about stacking evidence that you are that girl. It's such a powerful way to rebuild confidence in yourself and what you can do. But this whole thing isn't just about self-improvement for the sake of it. To really understand why this is happening right now, we have to zoom out and look at what people are calling the anxiety economy. The Great Lock-in didn't just appear out of nowhere. It's happening against this backdrop of some serious economic stress. I mean, we're talking about inflation that just won't quit, consumer confidence dropping, constant talk about a recession, and a job market that feels kind of shaky. When the world outside feels totally out of your control, you start to focus on the things you can control. And this really brings it down to a personal level. One participant, a 28-year-old named Julissa Mercedes, said her goal was to save about $2,500 because, in her words, having some liquid cash will make me feel a little bit safer. It's a direct response to all that uncertainty out there. So when you boil it all down, the Great Lock-in is really a coping mechanism. It's a super pragmatic strategy for a generation that's juggling entry-level paychecks with the insane reality of soaring living costs, student debt, and crazy high rent. Okay. So you're interested. How do you actually do a financial lock-in? Let's get into the practical how-to guide part of this. This is where the real planning kicks in. First, you get a full picture of your finances, what you own versus what you owe, so you know exactly where you're starting. Then you set a really specific, concrete goal with a deadline, like I'm going to save $1,000 by December 31st. Next, you build a budget. But here's the twist. You pay yourself first. That means moving money into savings before you spend on anything else. From there, you make a real plan to tackle any debt, you start investing, even if it's just small amounts, and finally, you think about taxes so you're not caught off guard. It's like a full financial reset button. And this is how those big, kind of scary ideas turn into simple daily actions. A goal like building an emergency fund, that becomes a micro habit of automatically transferring, say, $50 from every paycheck. Or maybe you want to pay off a credit card using a method like the avalanche or snowball strategy. The micro habit there could be having one no-spend day a week where you just don't buy anything that isn't essential. It's all about breaking down these overwhelming goals into tiny, repeatable actions. But all this intense focus, it brings up a huge debate. Is the Great Lock-in a healthy way to improve your life? Or is it just toxic hustle culture wearing a brand new disguise? And you know, there's a really, really fine line here. On one side, it's about empowerment, seizing control, and building real financial resilience. But on the other side, it can slide so easily into toxic productivity, setting impossible goals, spiking your stress, and just getting caught up in performative progress for social media. And the criticism is pretty sharp. The culture critic Taylor Lorenz actually called the trend terrible, arguing that it pushes this idea of toxic individualism. She even framed it as capitalist propaganda. The idea that you can just hustle your way out of a broken system, which puts all the pressure back on you. And this right here highlights a super interesting paradox. Gen Z is the exact same generation that champions ideas like anti-hustle and soft saving, that whole vibe of living for today because the future feels so uncertain. And yet, they are the ones driving this incredibly intense 4-month hustle. The trend is really a battleground between what they want, which is balance, and what they feel they have to do just to get by. So, how do you get all the benefits without the inevitable burnout? Well, experts say the key is to focus on building habits that can actually last, not just hitting some arbitrary goal. You've got to embrace that flexibility, set realistic goals, think of this as running a 5K, not a full marathon. And probably most important of all, you have to actually schedule in your rest. Burnout is the enemy of progress, always.
So, what do you all think? Is the Great Lock-In a necessary survival guide for a really tough economy? Or is it the blueprint for a more disciplined and focused future? Maybe it's a little bit of both. Let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one.